Here I am at St. John's. This is where I went to school. St. John's College is a very unusual program. It's designed around what they call the Great Books program, which basically takes the great books of Western literature, and you go through them for 4 years, so that in every single subject, you're not reading textbooks about the subject. You're reading the treatise and the literature and the writings of the people who originated that subject. So in mathematics, we're not reading about how to do mathematics. We start with Euclid, and this is Euclid on the board here. Some class, probably from yesterday, was doing one of Euclid's propositions, and we just go through Euclid and Descartes as he invents algebra, and then Newton and Einstein, and we go through the people who created the subjects. Same thing in our science laboratories. We don't read about science, we read the original treatises of the people who were inventing the sciences, starting from the alchemists, and we're reading their letters that they wrote to each other as they were trying to figure out how this stuff worked and how nature worked, how the universe works. And we go through that, reading Galileo's treatise about gravity, and reading Newton, and reading reading all of these people. And we have 4 years of mathematics, 4 years of science, 4 years of language. The first 2 years are ancient Greek, and then a semester of Middle English. We read some Chaucer in the original. And then junior and senior year, we do French, but not like modern conversational French. It's not quite Middle French. But it's a later modern, or early modern French, but purely for literature, for translation purposes. It's not, a few people form little study groups to try and speak it and have little conversational groups, but it's really meant for translation. Okay, and then we also have 2 years of music, a year of freshman chorus where everyone goes to chorus, and sophomore year, we have music theory. And then seminar is 4 years. Everyone does seminar the entire time, which is, okay, just breaking in from the future. I found a copy of the seminar reading list, so here's a little overview of some of the stuff that we're reading. Freshman year, we start with Homer, the Iliad, then the Odyssey. Then it's pretty much the year of the Greeks. There's Aeschylus, Herodotus, the histories, Plato, Sophocles, Aristotle. Aristotle's Nicomachean Ethics were a definite favorite of mine. I found that I think like Aristotle. That is a very interesting thing to claim. Aristophanes, more of the plays. Let's see. Aristotle's Physics, Euripides, Medea, Sophocles, more Plato. Okay, sophomore year, we start off with the Bible, some Genesis, Exodus, Deuteronomy, Kings, Psalms, Job. Then we get into some of the later Greeks, Greeks and Romans. It kind of intersperses a lot, like Livy, the early history of Rome, Plutarch's Lives, and then some Virgil. We read the Aeneid, some Tacitus. Then we get into some New Testament, then more Aristotle, On the Soul, Platonius, The Divine Comedy by Dante, the whole thing. Then we get into some Chaucer, some Shakespeare, Machiavelli, Montaigne, Descartes, his whole discourse on method, Augustine and Aquinas. And then junior year, we start with Don Quixote, is the opening reading for the year. Then we get into some more Descartes, Pascal, Milton, Paradise Lost, Hobbes, Leviathan, Spinoza, Locke, a lot of Kant, the Critique of Pure Reason, of course, as well as some of his other stuff. Some Rousseau, The Social Contract, Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice, Hume's Treatise of Human Nature, Adam Smith's Wealth of Nations, Hawthorne's Scarlet Letter, the Federalist Papers, Twain's Huckleberry Finn. And then senior year, we start with Tolstoy's War and Peace, Hegel's Phenomenology of Spirit. He is an interesting dude to read. Marx's Economic and Philosophic Manuscripts, Kierkegaard's Fear and Trembling, several of Kierkegaard's philosophical fragments, some Nietzsche, Beyond Good and Evil, de Tocqueville, Democracy in America, Melville, some of Lincoln's speeches and the Dred Scott case, Du Bois, The Souls of Black Folk, Freud, Chekhov. Usually there's a little bit of Joyce. Sometimes the reading varies depending on which one. My year, I did Joyce's Ulysses. At homecoming, our class read Joyce's short story, The Dead, which is a really good seminar. I also get into Heidegger, Hegel, The Brothers Karamazov by Dostoevsky. I'm not reading all of them. There's more, but I hope this gives you an idea of kind of the span and the enormity of the reading list. And this is just the seminar. This isn't including the mathematics, language, science, and music. And it's an all-required program, which means no matter how many college credits you had, they don't transfer. Like, nothing transfers in. Some things will transfer out to other colleges, but when you sign up to come here, when you're accepted and you say that, yes, I want to come, basically your education, the classes you're taking for 4 years are set. Like, it doesn't change. It's for personal preferences. There are a couple of very short, brief stints where you get to choose one of a few different texts in junior and senior year for about a 6-week period. And but everyone reads the same things. Everyone learns the same subjects. Everyone goes through the same course. And there are advantages and disadvantages to that, of course. There's almost no personal preference, but one of the biggest advantages is that everyone has the same core curriculum. Anyone who's been through this has all read the same thing so that you can discuss all of it with everyone. Like, when you go into the dining hall and you sit down, you can sit down with someone from any of the classes and discuss what you're reading, and they all know what you're talking about, and you can have these really great in-depth discussions. And we do tend to get very in-depth very fast. It's philosophizing about just about everything. It's, in fact, so sort of all-consuming and intense that we tend to end up philosophizing about our laundry. And, like, what is the virtue of stairs? The virtue of stairs is height. What is the virtue of color? The virtue of color is differentiation between objects so that you can see them. It's intense. But for the right kind of person, it's glorious. Anyway, so the idea is to really deeply question how to learn. It's learning how to learn. Some people joke that it's a direct preparation for nothing, but a good foundation for everything in life. Because it's not like taking pre-med. It's not like taking pre-law. It's not taking a specific training. It's not a technology degree. It's not a degree in something that is going to be a direct career path. But it is a really good foundation for pretty much anything that you want to do in life. And I've personally found it really valuable when I figured out that I'm autistic and later ADHD. The skills that I learned here of how to question things, how to question deeply and to look for truth helped me to figure out my life. And it's what I use every day with my clients, is deeply questioning and figuring out what is really true, to the extent that it's possible to know. I mean, at St. John's, we have a lot of discussions about what is absolute truth and is there such a thing, and we can really go off the deep end on that, but the skills of how to learn, how to question, how to know, how to respect knowledge, how to understand a different perspective, how to understand someone else's point of view, how to see with other people's eyes, how to understand arguments, how to tell whether an argument is reasonable or not, how to tell whether this is just pretty language or if this is trying to misdirect you, or is this actually a sound argument? Is this a good foundation for basing what you know upon? Those have been really helpful for me throughout everything that I've done in my life. This was a very, very important place to me. And coming back here now, coming back and seeing it 20 years later, seeing some of the people, actually a lot of my class showed up. Our 20-year reunion class came because it's such a small school. Our homecoming is homecoming for absolutely everyone, but each of the 5-year classes have their own sort of little get-togethers. And what's going to happen here in this room in just a few minutes is our class is having our reunion seminar. So seminar is the foundation of the St. John's program. It's what everything is built around. And we're doing our seminar on the short story by James Joyce called The Dead. And we're going to be talking about it and discussing it. And the tutor, we don't call them professors here, we call them tutors. The tutor will start with an opening question and will lead and that will just spark the discussion, and then we'll go around. We all sit around a table. Here, let me show you. Just have chairs around a table. And we will talk for 2 hours. Seminar is always 2 hours long, and sometimes we go over. Quite frequently, we went over. And it's about how to have a conversation, how to have a reasonable discussion with other people, how to think about what they just said and respond to it appropriately, not just talking over people. That's a skill that is developed over time as you're here. And it's a really good skill to have in life and in everything that you ever want to do. Anyway, there's a few other things that I want to say in a different video that are more specific thoughts that I had about certain things, but I just wanted to share a little bit about St. John's. This is a really good school for people who have the kind of mindset that loves this kind of learning directly from the original text, from the source text, of deeply questioning everything, of learning by discussion, learning from each other, not just learning what's been given to you. There's no textbooks here. It's all just learning from the original source. I mean, with one exception, we do have an ancient Greek text primer that helps us with learning ancient Greek before we can get to the actual translating it. But everything is from the source texts. So if this is the kind of thing that really sparks for you, this is a great place to be. And I highly recommend the school for the particular personality type. And it's a very small campus, a very small school. I think the entire campus is 350 people or so in all 4 classes and the graduate program. And there's a couple of different graduate programs now. There's one on Western Classics, one on Eastern Classics, and a brand new one on Middle Eastern Classics. And yeah, so for the kind of personality that thrives here, it is the best education possible. but it does take a very particular personality type to thrive here. And what I've noticed is that it tends to appeal to people who tend to think a little differently, who tend to be a little bit different. It appeals to a lot of neurodivergents, nerds, rebels, and weirdos. So right at home for me. Here's a little bit more of St. John's. Here's the iconic bell tower, the main administrative building, and then that's Santa Fe Hall, where we had a lot of our classrooms. That's Evans Science Laboratory, more classrooms, and it's all set up for alumni homecoming lunch, which is just now over. Here's our koi pond. I used to sit out in front of the koi pond a lot and just read. I love this place. Hello, koi. Here's not a great photo of our library, meme library. The big tent out front is currently the student dining hall because the main student center is having a lot of construction work done on it, so it's closed. And here's the fine arts building where we had music classes, and there's a pottery studio in the basement. I'm going to be going in there right now for freshman chorus revisiting. All right. Have a wonderful